you also use basswood for your fish decoys.
Yeah, yeah. All my decoys are carved out of basswood. I tried carving out of maple one time, and it took me probably 3 hours to get down to the basic.
What do you
I don't
use
do
for
that
the,
anymore.
what do you use for the fins?
I would use regular stovepipe metal.
Oh,
It's regular, it's the right gauge. Sheet metal.
and you make the pipe also?
Or carve the pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, carve pipe stems out of sumac.
Oh.
How do you hollow out the inside?
I take a hot rod and I run through it.
Burn it through?
The heart of the sumac is real soft. Just heat up a rod like the end of a, well, they don't make too many of those anymore, the metal hangers, clothes hangers. Straighten it out and then heat the front end of that up and then just work it through that.
Do you make the mouthpieces and the bowls too, or
On here?
for the pipes? No, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was, when you said pipes, I was seeing the stems over there. That was, I noticed there was a bowl.
Jerry, maybe you can describe to these guys about how you would go on the ice and get a muskie with one of your decoys.
I'll let one of my sons use one of them and he'll go give me a muskie. Easiest way I can describe it. No, we put up a teepee on the ice. I make mine out of six poles from alder, and cover it with canvas and blankets. Put some around the hole here to make it nice and dark with boughs from fir tree. And have my little spear in there and my decoy that's on the end of a jig stick. I don't have any jig sticks here now because I sold the last one. And we hook it on here and you drop this down below about 2 or 3 feet below the ice. You jerk on that jig stick and it swims in a circle. Goes real fast. They catch a muskie, will come after him and he go like that and he'll go underneath it and might miss it a couple times. But then that muskie will stop. And that's when you got him. You jig this thing and bring it up. And the muskie will follow it up. And you got your little spear there. Spear. Take them home and eat them. That's
So they're
function-
carved- so they're
function of
carved
that
so
thing.
that they all circle.
yeah. You make them go in a circle. When you pull on a jig, they got that lead weight in the bottom of here. When you pull on a jig stick, it makes them kind of twirl like that, and it just keeps going in a circle. Looks like a real bird swimming around on it.
Our museum here in Lac du Flambeau, they actually have a water tank where you can actually get one of the decoys and try it out for yourself. So maybe up the road you guys can visit that and you can try that out and see how that's done. There's also a diorama in the center of the museum where they actually have an image, a cutaway of the ice with a muskie coming up after a decoy. You can see it, you can see how that's done, what he's describing to you. That's also there too. So.
What are those spiral tubes over there?
Oh, those are pipe stems I'm making.
Oh.
And this is a bowl I'm making. And I've been working on this for about 6 months. Do a little on it every night, about 10 minutes.
A pipe bowl?
Yeah, bowl. And this is some of that pipestone I got from this guy here. He makes certain journeys every now and then to go get some.
Yeah, pipestone is one of the, is a gift from the creator, but it's not from here. We have to go out west. There's numerous places we get that stone, and it's very sacred to Ojibwe people.
It comes in red and black, right?
Yeah.
We got some when we were in South Dakota.
Yeah.
We were watching them make them.
Yeah.
Do they make other things besides, that's for a pipe, right?
Yeah.
Do they make other
There's
things?
numerous things that we make from that stone, but a lot of it we don't talk about it. So. Yeah. So that's about all you get as far as that's concerned. Any other questions for the artists? Sure.
Frank, you make your best.
No, actually, a lady from Lac de Flambeau made it. An elder from Redcliffe made the vest, and then a lady from Lac de Flambeau did the beadwork.
They have a vest very similar to that in the Minneapolis Art Institute.
They do.
Just, yes, beautiful.
It's a woodland design.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What kind of woods are really good for your flutes?
Cedar is probably the main one. I have one made out of sumac, which works really well, and white pine, redwood. Most of the softer woods that are more porous. And I explained that before because the moisture from your breath has to have somewhere to go when you're playing the flute because of the way it's made. And if it's a hardwood, it builds up underneath the bridge on there, and then it stops playing. So you have to take it apart and wipe it down. And the newsletter that I get from I belong to what's called the International Native American Flute Association. And the newsletter explains that because there's a lot of people out there making flutes now, and a lot of them are going to all these exotic woods and hardwoods. So they had a big write-up in there about the problem, which we all knew, you know. Why did the elders tell us make it out of these soft woods? Because they knew, you know. So all the young people that are coming and making flutes and mass producing them, they're making them out of these hardwoods, and they're not sending a little card with their flute saying, if it stops playing, this is what you have to do. You know? So, you know, people are running into the problem, so they're writing in and asking. So there's an article in the newsletter about that, you know. I can't remember what they call it, but it's they put a scientific name to it, you know. But it's just the moisture from your breath builds up under there, and you have to wipe it out of there. So softer woods work better because the softer woods are more porous. So the moisture goes into the pores, and it actually creates a lubricant for the air, so it enhances the sound, actually.
How did you split them in the old days?
In the old days, they used sharp tools and split them in half, and I've split some that way, you know, just to see, but it follows the grain. So if you have you know, like that sumac one, I split it by hand, you know, with a knife, and it follows the grain.
Yeah.
But you know, I have a table saw, and I cut them in the table saw. It's a traditional table saw. And what I glue, a long time ago, they glued them with pitch, or you know, glue that they made from tallow or bone marrow. And now I've developed a new type of glue. I use traditional Elmer's carpenter's glue. But what happens with the pitch was it hardens after a while, crystallizes. You know, they would put the pitch on the edges, and then they would take rawhide and soak it and wrap it around there, and when it dried, pull it tight. But then the pitch crystallizes after a while, and then it would develop air leaks on the sides. So then you have to take them apart and redo them. If you look at the flutes in the museum, you'll see that. Some of those old flutes, they have holes in the side. You can see where the pitch came out of the sides, you know, and they probably wouldn't play anymore because they were leaking. So it has to be airtight.
Canoes then were high maintenance items, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, just what he's talking about is over time, in our language, what we call big gun. That's the pitch that's used. Primarily in this part of the world, it comes from the white pine tree, and it's a mixture of the actual white pine pitch and tallow from different types of animals. And when done correctly, what it should be is it should be a stable substance that won't run on a hot day and won't crack on a cold day. That's what you're looking for. And so there's only one way to find that. That's experience. Okay? Won't find that in a book anywhere. Someone's got to show it to you, or you gotta figure it out. Okay. And so the voyageurs, the people who travel by canoes would typically carry what was called a pitch pot directly in the bow of the canoe. And what would happen was, if there was a leak, they'd simply go to shore, build a fire, heat up the pitch pot, make the repair, on the way again.
Now, not all tribes use canoes.
No.
Basically, they're the Woodland Indians.
Yeah, again, that was the primary mode of travel for Ojibwe people during the times of the year when the lakes were open. The water highways, the north. And then in the wintertime, again, those same areas would be traversed using snowshoes and what's called shushkodaban. The English word is toboggan. It comes from the Ojibwe word shushkodaban.
Well, we also had glues that we used to laminate also. They were made from fats and oils of the sturgeon. And those glues didn't leak like that. As far as laminating wood, bows, flutes, flights on arrows. Sturgeon glue was used at an earlier date and was used quite a bit. I tried sturgeon glue, it's good stuff. So we did have glue.
Did you make the sturgeon glue?
Yeah.
Yourself?
When you do the birch bark on your canoes and you seal all the seams with that pitch, what do you mix with that
To
make it black?
Oh, that's just hardwood ashes, just pulverized hardwood ashes. That's where you see the black color that comes in it. But I'll tell you, for those of you that are beginners, don't play with pitch. Okay? It's a pitch. It's a highly flammable substance. Okay, and what happens is if you heat that pitch over a fire, typically what we're doing is we work with a frying pan to heat it. And what happens is that stuff's like gasoline. Okay, it's very volatile, highly flammable. It's dangerous to be around it. And so for those of you that want to experiment with it, make sure there's no kids around close by. Make sure you don't spill it on yourself.